empty because in Alaska, there is a security lapse that has taken place that has cast a shadow over the Trump-Putin summit. In fact, global media outlets are reporting stories about how government documents marked with the State Department seals were left behind in a hotel printer, and this was just hours before the world leaders sat down for talks. So there were 8 pages meant for the eyes of officials discovered in a public printer at a hotel, and it contained detailed schedules, phone numbers of the U.S. officials, a seating chart for the planned lunch, and also the guidance on how to pronounce Putin. Now, these documents also outline plans for a ceremonial gift, an American bald eagle death statue, and a menu for the lunch in honor of His Excellency, as it mentions, Vladimir Putin. It was complete with all of these details of what would be in the lunch as well. And now we have Mr. KP Fabian joining us on the broadcast. Good morning and thank you for joining us. Ambassador, what do you make of this security lapse or a very, very embarrassing moment for the Trump administration? All the details of the schedule left behind in the hotel rooms.
Good morning. As you said, this shows incompetence, and we all know that Elon Musk has been sacking people right and left. And so the American civil service system is not in a good shape. And that is, here is a very sort of, serious instance thereof. But I don't think all this mattered much. Trump received Putin with great warmth, and they parted with even greater warmth. So the substance, substantially, it was a success for Putin and a little less success for Trump.
Okay, so very sensitive material, isn't it? And, these were left in the printers not after the meeting. This was even before the meeting. So it's extremely embarrassing. Previously as well, Trump administration has faced some embarrassment when sensitive information had also been revealed when in the group chats, a journalist had also been added. So this is definitely not the first time when the Trump administration is facing such embarrassment.
This is not the first time, and it will not be the last time either.
Okay. Okay, you're expecting a lot more embarrassing moments to come, and sloppiness by the Trump administration. At the time when the world was watching every move in the US-Russia equation, the lapse has raised very uncomfortable questions. Was this merely a clerical error, or does it point to a deeper pattern of negligence inside the Trump administration? How could documents with such details be left in a public printer? And what does it say about the security culture surrounding one of the most high-stakes summits of the year? Mr. Fabian, do you see any changes being brought in? Because this is extremely embarrassing. Within the United States, it is embarrassing, yes, but this was also a meeting that was watched world over. You had Vladimir Putin coming to Alaska for this meeting, and then to have such a security lapse.
Yes, you are absolutely right. But it also shows Trump's style of functioning. His style of functioning includes a certain high level of incompetency. For example, he comes out on Truth Social about decisions on tariffs and all that. In a rational world, decisions should be made by the president based on recommendation made by the departments concerned. That is not how Trump does it. So this incompetency which you mentioned, it pervades not only the leaving documents here and there, but it's much wider, much deeper.
Okay, all right. Thank you for joining us on the broadcast, Mr. KP Fabian. Extremely embarrassing for the Trump administration, but the White House has now played down the leak, calling it nothing more than a multi-page lunch menu that was left behind. The State Department has also dismissed it as a distraction, but national security experts have in fact flagged that this could be very, very concerning, that this is yet another sign of the administrative sloppiness in handling sensitive material. At the time when everyone was watching what would happen next, this was a meeting that was watched world over, the questions being raised on how could it even be allowed. Colonel Arsan Singh is also joining us on the broadcast. Thank you for joining us and good morning, Colonel Arsan Singh. What do you make of what has happened? Is it a massive security lapse because you had Donald Trump, you had the Russian President Vladimir Putin there for the meeting, and this was not after the meeting. Hours before the meeting, all of these details, key details of the meet, being left behind at the hotel rooms.
If I may tell you that, when such summit meetings or such meetings take place, the intelligence agencies of both the parties, are on an overdrive. And it doesn't start, at the venue itself. It starts right from the time when the planning for the meet is done. And, both the countries have formidable intelligence agencies, quite experienced and adept at, these kind of activities. If I may tell you from my experience, I have gone on some of these kind of, meets, and the people from the other party, there are, of course, you have your people in the other side also. They used to warn us that your room is bugged. So, and there are many other ways, you may have a camera fitted, there's some on a flower pot or something, or most unsuspecting place. So, the Americans and the Russians have been doing all this for far too long. For that reason, most of the countries. So I look at it this way. They must be wanting to find out as to what are the internal discussions that Putin is carrying out with his advisors and his other friends or well-wishers or people official part who are the official part of the entourage. So that happens. That happens. So they must be on an overdrive, and I really don't know how much of success they must have got in this, this entire effort that they made. But agencies do find, try to innovate ways to know the mind or the agenda of the opposite party. So I look at it that way.
Okay, all right. Colonel Arsen Singh, thank you for joining us. But a lot of focus also on this extremely embarrassing security lapse that has taken place. The summit was taking place in Alaska, and you had two very powerful world leaders there. The entire schedule of the meeting on what is being planned, how to even pronounce Putin. This is also one of the details being mentioned in the document, what is going to be in the lunch. But more importantly, the seating arrangement, the schedule, the numbers of the U.S. officials, all of them being printed and left behind in the hotel rooms. And this was the embarrassing moment for the Trump administration, because these were 8 pages that contained the schedule, the phone numbers of the government employees, the lunch menu, all of them being found in a public hotel printer. And this was 2 hours before the scheduled meeting of the two leaders. So extremely embarrassing for the Trump administration, though the White House has played it down and has said that there was nothing more than lunch. But clearly, this is an embarrassment for the U.S. administration, and more importantly, it could also have been a big security lapse. With that, let's get to the other top stories of the day.